Council to be held in the 6th floor conference room, 801 Crawford Street, 6 p.m. Monday, October 28, 2013, for the purpose of a closed meeting by order of the City Council. Mr. Cherry?
Yes.
Mr. Evans? Mr. Meeks?
Yes.
Mr. Moody?
Yes.
Ms. Simmons? Ms. Randall?
Yes.
Mayor Wright?
Yes.
You have a motion for a closed meeting in front of you?
I move to go.
Let me, excuse me, before we get into that motion, let me request respectfully to the council that this information that we're about to discuss about you being kept in the dark, I feel is public information. There are letters here that we have written, I've written to the governor, discuss this in open session, because it is public. We have put it in the paper, and if you choose not to do that, then I'm going to remove myself from going into closed session, because I think that only allows for more speculation from the public that there's something going on that they're not aware of. So all of this information here is public, and every one of us have a copy of this, from the resolution that we sent asking the governor to do something, to the letter that I sent to the governor thanking him for the meeting that I had in Richmond, and copied each one of you, as well as reminding the governor that I had shared the information with the city council, and also shared it on the night that we were here with our legislative team. So I actually text to each and every one of you, and it was announced here that we did that. And then finally, we have a letter here from Mr. Greg Worley that was sent that said that I have received your letter, Mayor. I have received the resolution from the city council requesting us to look into this matter. And he actually goes into all the pros and cons of safety issues and all that, and then he ends it here with exactly what happened last week. He said last week that trying to meet all those criteria, including the safety of the motorists and the workers, will always be their first priority, and we will not do anything to risk the public or anything else in the letter. Then he comes back and says, I have tasked the combined ERC and VDOT team with delivering me a plan no later than Wednesday of October 23rd. VDOT will brief you, me, Mayor Wright, and the mayors of Norfolk and Chesapeake as they are too impacted by this work. We will make the plan public and then proceed with the work. As this work progresses, we will continue to evaluate issues and opportunities prior to the beginning of the eastbound closure, which will start next year. And prior to doing that, they're going to brief us again. That's all here in the letter that they said. We actually talked about it in the work session on Monday night over at Bidawee. I believe it was Dr. Edmonds that asked, had we heard anything from VDOT? And I think the city manager said, we're going to hear something Wednesday. And then on Wednesday, or actually on Tuesday, VDOT called and said, we'd like to meet you Wednesday at 10 o'clock, if that's possible. And I said, absolutely. And so after the council meeting, I told the city manager that VDOT called and want to meet with us on Wednesday at 10 o'clock. And they met with us on Wednesday at 10 o'clock, and everything that he put in this letter is copied to the Portsmouth City Council. Each one of you have this letter, as well as our senators and all of our delegation, as well as the attorney here, Mr. Wilson, and Mr. Rowe. And that's that letter that he actually sent to us, and what happened last week is exactly what he put in this letter. And then what they came and briefed us on, and actually we had no idea it was going to be an actual meeting, because the previous week the VDOT administrator made an announcement in our transportation meeting in front of everyone, which kind of caught us by surprise, but it was a pleasant surprise because we were requesting that the tunnels stay open. And so when they came to us on Wednesday, they talked about the different processes that they went through with looking at bi-directional traffic, with looking at the safety, as well as ventilation and other concerns that they had. And they laid all of that out to me and the manager, and then they talked about the weekend closures and understanding that the impacts that we had of the businesses and of the other citizens, and then they gave us a hybrid of what items that we could actually select from. And Mr. Manager, you can jump in here at any time, but I don't want to put you on the spot because I think most of this is political. And I do not want to get our staff involved in us trying to play gamesmanship on each other. But I have all of the information here, and this is all public information. And what happened last week is exactly what the commissioner sent to each and every one of us. And after he left us, he went to the mayor of Norfolk and the mayor of Chesapeake and did the exact same thing. And the thing that the manager and I were not happy with, who was looking for a closure at 11 o'clock, and they couldn't do it because he talked about the downtime that they spent with 2 hours with having to set up and 2 hours with having to break down, and it didn't give them ample time to do the work that they needed within the time constraints. And so they had an 8 o'clock option. And the manager and I, thinking we're talking on behalf of the whole team, because we've requested this is the resolution that we, the city council, said we wanted the governor to come up and devise a plan to eliminate those weekend closures, as well as the letter that I sent to the governor, thanking him for meeting with me and thanking him for directing his chief of staff to get with the Secretary of Transportation to devise some kind of plan to give us a relief because of the hardship that our businesses had expressed. And so all of that's here, and it happened just like it was. And then I read in the paper that the mayor has kept us in the dark, and the mayor's making decisions without including us.
The three options they gave you, don't you think you should at least either called us on the phone or took a census of some of the three options, how we came to the answer? Do you think, we're all elected by the 96,000 people here. You took it upon yourself, and I guess John, to come up with the actual thing of the A, B, or C, or the 1, 2, 3 options you had, when it's 7 of us, where all 7 of us are going to get phone calls, not just you, not just John, but all 7 of us.
And there's nothing you read said there was gonna be a meeting on Wednesday morning at 10 o'clock. Okay?
Absolutely.
The only person who knew that when we were sitting in this room
Was
you.
And Mayor, the thing we really have a problem with is you received that phone call.
During the work session.
You excused yourself, you went out of the room, you came back, and when you came back in a public work session,
We still need to go and close. We don't want to go.
the city.
But I just want to make sure that we can go on close with that, but you got open
hear me
comments,
out.
that's fine.
Hear me out, I've got the floor.
Okay.
You went out of the room, you came back in a public work session. The city manager even addressed VDOT, and we were expecting the decision, and knowing you'd received that phone call, you didn't even mention it. You can pull out a lot of letters and read a lot of stuff, but we're specifically talking about the events of last Wednesday that occurred. Now you did not mention that. You went to this meeting. You did not give council any heads up that there are options on the table. This is what I'm gonna choose. There was no conversation with the business community.
There were no options.
There were options.
There were options at the meeting.
There were options.
Okay.
And this council should have been privy to those options so we can make a good, sound decision for this city, for the business community in particular. Now, you've got a lot of stuff there, and that's all it is, stuff, because that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the events of last Wednesday. And communication, we expect to be communicated with, because people expect us to be in the know. So we can make a decision as a team.
It's not about tunnels and tolls, it's about performance of council members. It's not about that. I nobody can disagree with anything you got there, Kenny. You're absolutely right.
But it
This
is
is about performance of us as a
Right,
body.
but it was reported in the press that the mayor is doing things and keeping the council out of the loop and out of the know, and all of this information is provided to every council member, and every council member has a copy of it. And if I can, let me read.
That's not what the meeting's about, Mayor.
Okay, well, you can go into close after we we clarify the public perception that there's something going on here. So, Mr. Moody, just a minute. I have tasked, let me read this in its entirety, from the commissioner to all of us. I have tasked the combined ERC and VDOT team with delivering me a plan no later than Wednesday, October the 23rd, 2013. VDOT will brief you and the mayors of Norfolk and Chesapeake as to they are impacted by this. We will make the plan public and then proceed with the work. And as the work progresses, we will continue to evaluate these opportunities. Prior to the beginning of the eastbound closures next spring, we will again brief you. And again, this was given to every one of us, and what happened last week is exactly what's in here. All I took the phone call is that VDOT is following up on the letter, letting me know that Wednesday at 10 o'clock, we'd like to meet with you. Yes, it would have been nice to tell you that, but it was no smoking gun.
Amen.
You could have told the public.
A revelation.
Yeah,
You can tell the public that.
And so-
great, we'll hear from them tomorrow.
We can debate that all the time, but
You had
please
ample
don't
time.
say, okay, hold on, one at a time. Please don't say we left you in the dark because everyone was aware of this. And the information that we were given.
Nobody here was aware of meeting at 10 o'clock on Wednesday
And
morning.
nobody was aware of the options,
Okay.
but you.
Okay,
You were the
let me
only
get to the
one.
options.
No.
And when we met with VDOT on Wednesday at 10 o'clock,
We don't need.
they went through, Mr. Meeks, on Wednesday, we went through the entire gyration of what they went through, and they tried to go as deliberately as they can with me and the manager about a bi-directional traffic in the tunnel, and raising all of those concerns and safety issues, and excluded that as being something viable. Now, whether or not we bought it or not was a different story. Remember, we all asked to relieve the pressures on our businesses and our citizens by opening the tunnel. And so the hybrids that they offered all had the 8 o'clock closure with, if you do it this week, I can finish it here. If you do it 2 weeks of closures, more closures, I can finish it in this time. But if you wanted to keep it open for the holiday season, and still the closures were at 8 o'clock, it was not anything that would have changed anything but the length of time. Hold it, Mr. Moody. Mr. Moody, I have the floor.
Ms. Simmons was right.
When the manager and I asked them to excuse themselves from our office, and we discussed that, and we came up with, this is just as good as the other two hybrids that had nothing to do with keeping the thing open, and so that's what we selected. So if we're done with the public information and about the information that we all have here, Mr. Manager, is there anything you want to add? Did I misrepresent what happened?
You haven't, maybe some clarity to, options. I'm sorry.
But we're not here about the tunnel.
I'm glad somebody called the cavalry.
Yeah, I will say, James.
Go ahead.
That John said when he said it.
Yes.
James, would you come up, please? The meeting started off with Charlie Kilpatrick, who's the Deputy Commissioner for VDOT, saying that he had been tasked, like the letter said, to look at an alternative to weekend closing, and that they were trying hard to make bi-directional traffic in 1-2 work. And he was working, he didn't say it this way, but he all but said they were working to, yes, trying to get it to work. But as they went through the process, they realized that it wouldn't work and wouldn't be safe. Part of the issue is the geometry on both sides of the tunnel. Because of where you make the crossover, it would cause traffic to stack up. Visualize coming from Norfolk through the downtown tunnel. That tunnel would be closed. And typically, if you're coming downtown, if you come through the downtown tunnel, you take a right to get downtown. Well, you can't make that right if you're using the eastbound tunnel. Okay? And I can show you aerial. And the reason why I got both this aerial, because you asked me some questions this afternoon, Bill, about bi-directional traffic.
And that's good, John.
But we're going-
The meeting is really about communication.
Right.
And we weren't part of the decision process because of the lack of communication. So we have a motion.
I move to go into the closed.
I moved, huh?
No, we have
I move to go into a closed meeting pursuant to the provisions of Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711 for the following purpose: consideration of the performance of city council members as permitted under subsection A1.
Mr. Cherry?
Yes.
Mr. Evans?
Yes.
Mr. Meeks?
Yes.
Mr. Moody?
Yes.
Ms. Simmons?
Yes.
Ms. Randall?
Yes.
Mayor White?
No.
We already closed that. Thank you.
That was interesting.
I feel like